Good morning, everyone. This is Vinod from Excel Snippet representing iSelf Academy, and this is the final video on beginner series. And this video is all about Power Pivot. So, in our last video, we saw how to work with a larger worksheet inside Excel. I am about to use the larger worksheet not within the sheets like I did in our previous exercise, like in a text function or in a CSV function. I am about to take them to the data model of Excel and convert them or add the data to the Power Pivot option, and then I'm going to create a report out of it. If I want you to understand what this is all about, and we need to go back to your first session, getting started with Excel. There we saw anatomy of Excel. So in the anatomy of Excel, I just gave you a small idea about how many rows and columns do we have in our version in 2017, and what is the version's number of line items available before 2003 and after 2003. And in Office 365, it's going to be the same what we have in 2007 and until 2019 version, and probably beyond. If any version comes into play, it's going to be the same. Now I'm going to just pull the data inside our list. Do this, so I don't need this anymore. I'm going to come back to our findings. The methodology of Power Pivot and Power Queries are almost similar, but not exactly. There will be a slight jump. There will be a slight changes that we do in the routine process of Power Query, and we will move the data from Power Query editor to Power Pivot Excel. Please use Office 2016 version and above, so that will be the best component. And again, for the people who don't have 16 version, who are still trading back in 2010 and 2030 version, you can use Power Pivot as an add-on, not as a list. If you closely watch, I have an icon on top. You can see that it shows the Power Pivot here. Sometimes this icon may not be available, but if you are a user of 2016 version or Office 365 version, you will get this by default after 2018. So for example, if you are currently, I'm using 2005 version of Excel, which is the latest updates of Office 365. Probably after March update, this is the version that we have. I had a few more uploads, a few more data, and a few more new releases are updated, and I'm using Microsoft 365 for enterprises. And here I'm going to just add the Power Pivot for us, and the routine is the same. So I'm going to go back to the data tab, and then I'm going to go to get data, and from file, and from folder. So when I click the from folder, again I'm using it for the first time in a day, so it's going to take a little more normal than usual, and I'm using the .NET framework activations. Once the .NET framework is switched on or loaded, immediately you can see that there is a browse button comes into play. Click the browse button. As usual, we are about to take the data, so I'm going to just go back to my PC, my drive, and take the large data into our consideration. In this data, I know the number of line items that I have in this data are around 1.2 million line items. So that's a little larger than normal, and which is beyond our Excel capacity. The maximum rows and columns that we have in an Excel is only 10,48,576 rows and 16,384 columns. But what I'm trying to add right now is 1.2 lakhs and more. So now I'm adding my data to the list. Almost the similarity going to be the same according to the previous video. I'm going to follow nearly almost all the steps what I did in my Power Query editor earlier, but I will be improvising this because I'm bringing in a data which is an Excel in nature into Excel. So the data that I have is I have 3 different files here, and those are all belong to one dimension called Excel. Now I'm going to transform this data When I transform this data into an Excel, then I need to use the M language of Power Query Editor. We call this as M language. Don't mistake it as mission language. It is M language for Power Query. So when I get an M language, the data is going to be a little different. So I'm going to use the M language right now to extract my Excel file, because I need to know whether I have a tabled data or a sheets, or I have a name range, if there is any sheets are hidden. So I want to just go through all of them once and then do it. I'm going to do it only once. So I'll try to do what is the best practice that is there used to import the data into the Power Pivot. So once I add the data, then once I click the transform button, you can see that the data are going to show inside our Power Query Editor. And I'm not going to keep all the data. Whatever I did in the Power Query Editor option, I'm going to follow that again. But once I remove the unwanted data from my Power Query Editor, when I want to extract the data, I'm going to use a new technique. So until this almost, or even until the next step, everything remains same. So nothing is going to change here. So I'm going to just say remove column. But I may not be able to combine this file as I did for the text and CSV file that I did earlier in our video. Here I need to add a new column so that allows us to extract the data better. So to do that, I'm going to go to the add column menu in Power Query Editor, and I'm going to get the custom column. So please do follow it for the first time, exactly the same which I do. And you can fiddle around and try to do something new with the data so that you can see what is coming in here, what is not coming here, what is working and not working here. You will all know that. So this is the screen where I'm going to use the M language of Power Query Editor. So I'm keeping the name of the file as the same. If you want a specific name to it, you can always select this data and can clear this list. So I'm going to just say Excel extract, so I can give a space if I wanted to on top. If you don't want, you can definitely leave it. I'm going to just say Excel dot workbook. So sometimes when I type this, you get a drop down like we get a formula in Excel. Sometimes we won't get it. So this time I didn't get it. I'm going to give a comma and then I'm going to get it. Remember that the syntax has to be similar in nature. So you have to have the Excel workbook E and W has to be in capital. The content is what we are extracting right now from the left hand side of our table, and I'm going to give a comma and give a true here. Just I'll tell you why I'm giving this true a little later. So when I give an OK, automatically data is getting extracted to the first level of table. So now we get one more column next to our content box which says a table. This is the first extract level. When you extract this data, the system will tell you that what are the information that we have in our Excel sheet. This is going to normally take a little more longer than normal because I'm using it for the first time of the day. So it's going to take a little more longer. And I can see that now I have this list. And I'm going to extract this when I click this double arrow. This is the first thing that you can see in here. When I click the double arrow, it extracts the data and shows what are the different headers that we have here. It says name, data, item, kind, and hidden. So when I just uncheck this point so that I don't bring this Excel extract in front of my headers here. So I don't want this line, or else it will be odd and I have to rename my headers again after I've completed my list. When I extract this is going to give you 5 more new columns to our list. And the 5 more new columns will show you that whether the data are hidden or what, and what kind of data that we have in here. Do I have a table? Do I have a name manager? Do I have a sheet? What kind of data that I have here, and all the other necessary information that we can carry forward our data to the next level of our pivot. So once I extract this is only giving you the first 5 topics, the name of the file, and the data, and the item, and the kind, and hidden. You can see all of them are coming on top of our list. Once this is all extracted, I am so keen only to have a data I can further extract. The rest of the data are waste for me, and if you closely watch, I have 6 files right now. But when I started my day, or when I started with my folders earlier, it showed only 3 data. If you remember, the binary also showed only 3 data earlier. Now it's showing 6 because I have a sheet and I have a table formation in my sheets. I can read in any one here. Sheets is something which is normal that we always can extract it. We saw that in our pivot and as well as the query options. So I'm going to just use the table here. When I give an OK, then I filtered out the sheets out of the list and I'm going to work only along with the table. Here, as I told you earlier, only one column is very important for me to take the data to the next level. That is the data column. The data column, I can see that there is a 2 arrow coming up here. So the 2 arrow allows us to extract the data further. So I'm going to remove the other columns other than my data. So remove all the other columns. So all the other columns are removed and you can see only the table data are there. And I extract this to the third level. This is where I go to the data, what I have inside each and every sheet. As I told you earlier in the previous video, your data has to be similar and one kind, and I didn't check that at all. I just pick the data accordingly. So all my data has to be similar. That's how I work with the Power Query and Power Pivot. If there is a problem or if there is jumbled data that I have in any one of the file, then I'm in a total mess. So please be careful and please remember that you have the data here. So now you can see that I have around 5 columns of data here. When I give an OK, and that data is extracted, and I can see the first file and second file and third file come one below the other. Remember, when I do this, I have to convert all these data into a proper data set. So this is where my home tab going to come into play, and you can see that the data types are any. So we don't know the defined column of the data. So I'm going to pick up each and every column. The first column is going to be a date. So I can either just select this column alone and go to my data type and change it to date. So that's going to switch the first column into a date. If a similar column comes in a continuous pattern, you can change that too in a faster way. I can change like this also. When I click this, I want this as a whole number. You can see that this column of sales is converting into a whole number right now. So once this is done, so now we can see the next 3 columns are coming up. Again, you can see that the icons are changing right now. Now it shows any means it shows any of this is confused. So I'm selecting all the 3 columns because all 3 columns are similar. How did I select this? I just clicked one of the column and press the shift button and clicked third column, so that selected the 3 column. Then I can convert all of them into text. Now everything will become ABC right now, from the class to the subcategory to the line codes. If you want to rename them, you can just rename them manually here by double clicking it, but I'm going to keep it as it is. Now I'm going to use close and load too, because when I give close and load here, the system automatically adds the data to my Excel sheet. Unfortunately, my data are not with the compatible size of the Excel, so it's going to go beyond my Excel, so I may not be able to use the first option. I have to use the second option. So the second option, I'm not going to add this table to my sheet. I'm going to add the connections alone. So I'm going to say create the connection between the 3 files, and please add my data to my data model. When I click this, automatically you can see on the right hand side the query and the connections will pop up a small window. Like we add a pivot table, whatever it shows, it's going to show the same point. And now all my data are getting refreshed and will show how many line items do I have in my list at the bottom of the screen. So now it's refreshing the data, it's loading each and every line item one by one. So I have a lot of query table here, so I didn't delete anything. So it's a large list. So probably I can show you how many rows I have actually added to my list. So it's going to take a little longer time for me to do it because I'm having around 1.2 million line items of data. So once the data is loaded completely, and then I can just because I have around 19 queries here. So these are the queries that I've added in the past. So now I try to scroll down. It's going to take a lot of time. So now I scroll down, you can see that the large data that I have here. So let me just, now the minimization is happening, so I can show the data here. In the other query option, you can see the lastly I've added a larger text. Yesterday I tried these component, tried to add a new video, but the native video didn't come well. So these are the data that I have here. So the last line that I've added right now is 12,70,417 items. Okay, right now the data are added, but where? So this is the question that pops up in our brain. This is available in our Power Pivot window. You can access this Power Pivot window without having this separate menu bar. You can just go back to your data and you can see that manage data model. When I click this, it's going to take your data to our pivot window. If you are using it for the very first thing, then it pops up a small box saying that enable it. So when something like that comes into play, don't worry about it. Just click the enable it. It is not a bug. It just shows that your data are added and immediately to take you to the our pivot window like this. And you can see that the data are preparing and you can create a pivot table from this window. And again, this is a new window like we had earlier, like our query filter. So now you can see that this is the data that I have here. So I have the dates, I have the sales, I have the name of the classes and all. You can see at the bottom of the screen, I already added one data yesterday. So let me just okay, I don't mind. Having two data is not a problem for me. So I'm going to use this large data to my pivot table. So when I click the pivot table, we never had a pivot table option like this before. When I click the pivot table, it shows a pivot table for us. It never asks you whether you want to create a horizontal or a vertical pivot table, or it's not going to ask you want a chart and pivot table in a single instant, you want charts alone, you want a pivot table alone, nothing like that. So in a Power Pivot window, we have this extra option that we have to create. So this allows you to create a dashboard faster. Probably if you see my video on Power Pivot table and dashboard, interactive dashboard, I would have taken a lot of time, somewhere around 35 to 40 minutes to build that. But I'm going to build this particular pivot table under 10 minutes. Once the data is ready, just click the 4 chart. Immediately it'll ask you where you want to add the chart. I would like to put them in a brand new sheet, so I'm going to just say add a new sheet. And then when I click this, because my cursor is in K26 right now, so I'm going to just existing sheet, just click this option, and then click it to A, and then I'm going to just go back to the new sheet. So I'll just add it to new sheet. So automatically my data goes to new sheet, and it's going to pick the A1 cell as reference. So now you can see that I have 4 charts coming up here. So all the 4 charts are available. Now I can add a pivot table. But again, sometimes the pivot table come immediately on the right hand side. You can see the pivot table tools has to come. If it doesn't come, don't panic. Just give a right click on one of the canvas that we have here. We then click the show field line item. So you can see that it's coming up with this. And now I have a large data too. I'm going to give a tick mark in the date and sales. Remember, sometimes when you click the tick mark, it goes to a different logic. So it won't go to the list here. If you go for a normal pivot table, your bottom part, there is a drag and drop field will be very different. Here it will show a filter, column, row, and value. But when you get into a Power Pivot window, it will show the legend series, access category, and point. So if you have a larger data, please put most of them in the access category, not in the legend series. Then I'm going to tick the sales. It's going to jump to my value automatically. Most of them it comes correctly. It doesn't have any issue. Sometimes it will act pathetically like this. So I'm going to just drag and drop this, and it will going to give you the count of the data. Because when I added my data, it still took my data as a count. So let me just see whether it can allow me to change this data to a summation. So I'm going to give a click on my value, and on the count value, I'll go to value field settings. In the value field settings, if I convert this into a number, it's going to shout at me. If it shouts at me, then my data are all not in a proper data type. So let me come back to my data and query and go back to my list here. So I'm going to go back to the large data. Yes, I'm going to just edit this data. Probably my data are not taking a different data altogether. So it's giving me a different point here. Yes. Yeah. So let me just close this. Instead of taking a large data here, I'm going to just uncheck these two and go back to my large Excel data and pick the date. You can see that it goes to a legend series. Just drag it to a list. Click at the sales, then it has to come to the value and it's going to show you a sum. If it shows the sum, then you are answered because we have changed all the data type earlier. Then I can jump to the next part, go back to the larger data and the class by sales. Next to the data, go to the larger data Excel and then category wise sales, and finally I'm going to add the large data to the category wise sales. So I got all the list. Then we can tweak them according to our list. So I'm going to just delete all the background lines that I have here. And I'm going to just add the data label to the top. So before I add the data label to the top, probably I can just set the format access as I did in our list. So I'm doing all these logics one by one. So I'm just changing all these points so that this is going to make our life very easy to play around with. And here the formatting will take a little longer than a normal pivot table. And I don't want to add a number here because it's going to be too cumbersome. So I'm going to just add the data series only to the value events here. And again, if I add the data series values to this is going to be all in general format. So I'll change all those data to a normal format. So I'll come back to this point, click this, and I'm going to just go back to the fill. I'll give a right click here, go back to the format data series, converting the numbers into an accounting. Then I got it. So I'm going to just do the same for this line, convert this into accounting, and this line, convert this into accounting. That's it. So I have formatted the data to data extent. If I want to add a header here, these are properly arranged by itself. So I don't want to sit and tweak the charts here. The only thing that I need to do is I'm going to just go back to the view and check the grid lines, and I'm trying to just make this right hand side a more useful one. So insert or home, and then margin center. I'm going to say sales dashboard on dates, class, category, subcategory, and descriptive sales. So I got all of them. So now I'm going to just click this, wrap the text, make it in the center, make it a little bigger so that I can see the data better. So let me make it a little smaller, bold it. So now you can just set this as your dashboard. So now we got the dashboard on multi-dimension. If you want to make it even more better, so I can just give a name to it. So dates by sales. So to be more specific, so instead of giving the headers alone, class sales, and I can just say subcategory sales. If I spell it out wrongly, forgive me. And I'm going to just say descriptive sales. So I've had all of them in here. So I can see them very, very clearly how good it is, and I can just make it a little bigger if you wanted to, because the charts are here. So just take it out. So I have it. So let me just make it 120. Select the whole sheet and then make it as 100% zoom. So that sounds good. Yeah. So this is how we will build our Power Pivot option. I've used only the dashboard to build. My data are still available in our data model. So this is our dashboard in Excel using a Power Pivot option. So I showed you where the data lies or what is the version I'm using. So now I can show you how I can activate this option and deactivate it. To do that, I'm going to give a right click here, go back to the customize ribbon, and you can see the list of menus that is going to come up onto the right of my data. And once the data comes into place, I can just uncheck it or check it out. So if it's unchecked, probably sometimes this screen you won't even see the power pivot here. So let me just remove it, or you can see that this is coming because when I go back to my customized ribbon, in the add-ins I've given a check box in my power pivot. When I go to add-ins, normally when an add-in comes into play, we can add it as an Excel add-in, but I'm going to use this as COM add-in. When I go down, you can see that I've checked it here. So that's why it shows in my list here. When I uncheck it, when I go back to my customized ribbon, you won't even see the power pivot option available. If you want to get the power pivot option in the main tab, you have to come back to your add-ins, go back to the COM add-ins. But before that, please remember that you have to see whether you are eligible for a power pivot here. So you can see that inactive applications add-in, so you can see that all these data are available. In that you have seen power pivot. I'm going to create a brand new series after this. There we will be dealing with Power Map, Power Pivot, Power View, and Power Query Editor too. So I'm going to just go back to this, and I can add my map, all of them here. And I'm going to give an OK. And now we can see the Power Pivot window will automatically pop up after I add it to from my main part. So you can see that I'm adding a main part here. Okay, now the Power Pivot window is here. So you can manage your data, you can create a measures if you want, and you can create a key performance indicators also. All these logics, I'll be doing it in my series number 3, where I'm going to deal around with Excel Power Query and Power Pivot series 3.0. Hope you enjoyed this video, something new and something very interesting. It's an introduction. Initially it will be very tough to learn and understand, but once you understand how to handle the data, and that's going to save a hell a lot of time for you. And this is much more faster than what you think it is all about. So hope you enjoy my video, and I finally finished the beginner series of Excel, and we will continue our weekend sessions on Excel user series 2.0 and Excel Power Query and Power Pivot series 3.0 simultaneously from the upcoming weekend. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, keep updating, stay updated, and happy learning. Thank you. Vinod signing out from iSelf Academy.